I'll take just 1 more minute and we'll start. Just give me a minute. Turn your video on once. Okay, stay that way for a minute. Okay, let us start. Even if you want, you can put your video on. Whatever, it is your preference only. Okay. So today we are going to cover question answers for chapter 2, audit strategy, planning and program. We have already covered the whole chapter. Now we'll again, the format will remain same. I'll make you understand the topic once, I'll revise your topic once, and then we'll move on to the questions and we'll try to find out whether this question, what should be the answer of this question. You should, after reading every question, analyze what could be the answer. Okay, most of the questions are as usual always direct questions, and all of the questions we are covering are of ICI questions. No question has been made by me. Okay, so audit strategy, planning and program. First topic is why planning is necessary. It says planning is necessary to carry out audit in effectively and in a timely manner. It is necessary so that we can devote attention to important areas, so that we can identify problems beforehand and resolve them on a timely basis, so that we can select our engagement team members better and assign them the proper work as per their capabilities. If somebody knows how to analyze the data, we'll assign him that work. If somebody does not know how to extract the data, we'll send another article with him so that he can extract the data for him. It assists in coordination of work done by others, such as experts. If any expert is needed in our assignment, so we can see when his dates are free, when can he be available for this particular client, and then accordingly we can put those procedures in that dates. And it also facilitates direction, supervision of engagement team and review of their work. Basically, we can direct or guide the team, we can supervise the team, and we can review their work. Giving direction means guiding them what to do, what not to do. Supervisions mean keeping a eye on them, how are they doing the work. And review means after they have completed the work, we'll check each and everything. So that is why planning is necessary. Question number, it has two questions, question number 1 and question number 18. Let us first see question number 1. CA Rishu is appointed as an auditor of a manufacturing company with a complex supply chain, multiple inventory location, and recently introduced financial reporting requirements. Some article assistants and an expert is assigned for the inventory verification are forming part of an audit team. First, the important point is expert is assigned to ensure that audit risk is reduced to an acceptably low level. CA Ratio is focused on developing an effective and efficient audit plan. You need to explain the benefits of adequate audit planning in the audit of financial statement. So even if you read the last line alone, you can know what the question is asking. The whole of the case study is just for wasting the time. So it asks benefits of adequate planning. These are the benefits of adequate planning. Nothing that was indirect. Very, very straightforward question. Mark question number 1. Next is question number 8. What does it say? CA Taman is the auditor of a company dealing in trading of mobile accessories. Let us do one thing. Let us first read the last lines from the question, and then we can understand whether the above question is really needed or not. What factors will CA Taman consider when planning the NTE of direction and supervision of engagement team and the review of their work? Secondly, if during audit CA Taman discovers, oh sorry, this is question number 8. We need to read question number 18. My mistake. Let us see question number 18. It is just a one-liner question. Adequate planning benefits the audit of financial statements in several ways. It says planning benefits audit in several ways. Explain. So you need to explain the planning benefits. Question number 18. One more thing I want to highlight. When I teach like this, when I make you understand the concepts first and then we directly jump onto the related question, it feels comparatively easier to identify the question. However, if I do not tell you the concept beforehand and you have not revised the concept at home, you will not be able to identify. So when the book is not there and when you have not read the concept, just so it will be comparatively difficult to understand the question, and that will need practice. So you need to practice at home. After reading questions, close your eyes and try to comprehend what would be the answer. That is the only way you can get command over the questions. Don't think that it is so easy as Chirag sir is teaching and I'll be able to solve. You will need practice for it. I do this way because most of the cases students have not yet revised the chapter, so I need to make sure that they understand what the question is talking about and what the answer is saying. So first I revise the concept and then I jump onto the questions. This is the only reason. Audit planning, a continuous process. It says planning is not a discrete means separate phase, but it is a continual and iterative process. Iterative means changing process. I told you this earlier as well. It says as and when we complete the audit of first year and as we do recurring audits, we start our planning from the very next day. That day we complete the audit, the very next day we start planning for the next year's audit. So it begins shortly after the completion of previous audit and continues until the completion of current audit engagement. Planning includes consideration of procedures that need to be completed prior to the performance of further audit procedure. I might have told you the process of audit. First is understanding, then is risk assessment procedure, and then comes further audit procedure. So it says before moving on to the final procedures, we need to plan some procedures. What procedures will we need to plan? First is risk assessment procedures. Risk assessment procedures have four parts: inquiry, inspection, observation, analytical procedures. So it says, before further audit procedures, we'll need to consider some of the procedures. First was risk assessment procedures. Risk assessment procedures will include analytical procedures. Which analytical procedures which will we need to perform? Which what kind of relationships? What is analytical procedures? Relationship between data, financial data and non-financial data. Suppose if number of employees increases, then the payroll expense also increase. If sales increase, cost of goods sold will also increase. If sales increase, profit will also increase. If sales increase, purchases will increase, which in turn will increase the warehouse expense, warehouse rent, because we'll need to put the goods at some place. So these are the relationship. So we'll need to consider what kind of different relationship, what kind of different calculations will we need to made. And other, what kind of other risk assessment procedure? Inquiry, observation, inspection. Which other procedure do we need to make? We need to plan it before performing the final further audit procedures. Okay. We will also need to understand what are the legal regulatory framework, what kind of laws are applicable to the entity. On a banking entity, a lot of laws are applicable. On a manufacturing or a FMCG company, less laws are applicable. We need to determine the level of materiality, that below which amount that we will consider the amount as trivial, or we will ignore the amount. The amount below 1000 rupees we will include the ignore. The mistakes below 10,000 will include ignore. That is the level of materiality. Do we need an expert or not? We need to plan that beforehand. So it says, before performance of FAP, further audit procedures, auditor need to consider certain things. These are the things. It also says engagement partner and key members should be involved in planning and discussion, and auditor may discuss some elements of planning with entities management. However, he needs to take care not to compromise on the effectiveness of audit. He needs to take care not to compromise on the effectiveness of audit. Okay, which means do not discuss in so much detail that the management knows what sample are you going to take. Now this has a lot of questions. First is question number 24. Let us read, and question number 16 as well. So let us read question number 16 first. Please read it very carefully. Planning includes consideration of timing of certain activities and procedures that need to be completed prior to the performance of further audit procedure. Have we read this line somewhere? We have read the exact same line here. Please mark it. Let us read the rest of the question. For example, planning includes need to consider prior to auditor's identification of risk of material misstatement certain matter. Discuss those matter. What are those matters? Risk assessment procedure, risk assessment. In risk assessment, there were two: analytical and other, materiality, expert, and legal regulatory framework. All of these things we need to write. Mark it as question number 16. Mark it as question number 16. Very important. Second, question number 24. What does question number 24 say? CAE is the auditor of LM Limited. Before commencing with current year audit, he initiated planning for the audit. Before starting the audit, he started planning. Again, planning need includes the need to consider certain matters prior to the identification and assessment of risk of material misstatement. Enumerate such matters. So here, instead of performance of further audit procedure, instead of writing performance of further audit procedure. It has now written prior to the identification and assessment of risk of material misstatement. So by this line, he is also asking the same thing. So we need to write this line as well. Prior to auditor's identification and assessment of risk of material misstatement. Please write it down. Mark this prior to the identification and assessment of risk of material misstatement. The identification and assessment of risk of material misstatement. This is just another way he is asking the same thing. Okay. Now let us move on to the next topic, which is also mark it as question number 24. Question number 20. Okay. Next topic is preliminary engagement activity. It says performing procedures for acceptance and continuance of client relationship and audit. It says before accepting. Preliminary means before accepting engagement. What do we need to see? We need to see whether should we accept this client or not. We need to see whether our employees fulfill the ethical requirements or not. We need to make an engagement letter and write down the terms of engagement. These three things: taking good employees, taking good clients, and writing down the engagement letter. These things we need to see. Okay. So when should we obtain the client data? When should we obtain the client data? Pranav, turn on your mic and tell me in which three situations we should take on the client, we should see the client data. Three situations and 3 pointers. Don't look at the screen, just look at me and tell me what are the three situations and what are the three data points. Before accepting the engagement, after accepting. No. And we have repeated this several times. Yes. Before accepting the engagement, and during the engagement, and uh, I guess that's all. See, we need to take information. Acha, what information do we need to see about client? Before, I mean, before or during? Anytime, you tell me. You have to verify the like. I mean. Before we'll verify if they're good persons or not. We'll check their integrity and all. And all. What does and all consists? I'll have to revise sir once. Let me make you revise it. Okay, turn off your mic. Let me make you revise it. We check three things: integrity of the client, competence compliance of our team. Again, integrity of client, competence compliance of our team, and in three situations. What are the three situations? New client will give a new engagement, old client will give either an existing engagement or a new engagement. Do you remember this now? So before accepting the new engagement from a new client, before continuing the existing engagement from an existing client, or before accepting a new engagement from an existing client, we need to see three things: integrity of the client, competence and compliance of our people. These are the things that we need to see. Okay. Now let us look at the book. It says we need to obtain certain information like integrity of the client, competence of our team, and matters which have arisen during the current or previous year audit engagement, whether they were allowing us to check all the documents previous year or whether they were creating any problems. Okay. When will we obtain all these things? Before accepting new client, before continuing existing engagement with an existing client, or before accepting new engagement with an existing client. In three cases we'll see all of these things: integrity of the client and competence compliance of our team. Integrity includes 7 pointers, which we learned from a story, which was business reputation, nature of business, and attitude, and fees as low as possible, and fifth point was inappropriate limitation, and criminal activities and money laundering, and last is non-reappointment of previous firm. The whole photo thing, we understood it. Now, evaluating compliance with ethical requirements, we need to be an alert whether any of our team member is doing any non-compliance, and if we find any non-compliance, the partner needs to take appropriate action. He needs to identify and evaluate circumstances that create threats to independent, whether any of his relative is working in the client, whether any of our team member has purchased the share of the client which will hamper our integrity. We need to identify such circumstances, identify any breaches which create threats, and take appropriate action. Three type of appropriate action: eliminate, reduce, withdraw. And if we are not able to solve the matter, we should promptly notify to the firm so that they can resolve the matter at their hands. And last is, we need to sign an engagement letter so that there is no confusion between the auditor and the management going forward. Okay. So question number 2 is here. Question number 2. What does it say? It says preliminary engagement activities include certain activities to be performed by auditor while planning an audit. What activities should the auditor perform before planning the audit? Preliminary engagement activities. Discuss such activities briefly. How performing such activities assist the auditor. So we'll see three things: acceptance and continuance of client relationship, ethical requirement, and terms of engagement. How does it assist the auditor? It assists the auditor in identifying and evaluating events that may affect the auditor's ability to plan and perform the audit engagement. How? Basically, if he has found some information during the integrity check, if he finds that the risk is higher, then he'll plan more procedures and perform more procedures. So it will affect his planning. Okay, mark it as question number 2. Here he has not written everything in detail. You will also need to see how many marks of question is this. If only 3 mark question, you will need to write 3 headings, and you can write 1 to 2 lines after that. In a 3 mark question, you do not need to fill a full page. Please remember that you need time for other questions as well. Next is compliance with independence. So the auditor needs to identify circumstances which create threats, identify any breaches, and take appropriate action: eliminate, reduce, withdraw. And if he is not able to solve, promptly report to firm any inability to resolve. Question number 3. What is question number 3? CAN, engagement partner of LPS and Associates, is planning for audit of a large company. As part of preliminary engagement activities being performed in this regard, he wants to ensure that compliance with independence requirement is adhered. CA wants to ensure that compliance with independence requirement is adhered, how shall he form a conclusion that audit firm complies with independence requirement? Same thing, identify, evaluate circumstances, information on breaches, take appropriate action, and promptly report if inability to resolve. Mark as question number 3. Question number 3. Please write it down as well. How does CA ensures whether independence requirements has been adhered? Okay. Next is planning activities. Planning activities. It says now it will talk about strategy and the plan. S for strategy, S for STD. STD stands for scope, timing, direction. And the fourth thing we used to see was resources. Resources, resources. Fourth thing was resources. Resources, what resources, which resources? For high risk areas, high experience resources. How many? If inventory is at so many locations, we need to put high number of team members. When? Sometimes at interim stage, sometimes at cutoff stage, depending upon the reporting deadlines, and how such resources are to be managed, directed, and supervised. When we need to conduct the briefing and debriefing meetings. What were briefing meetings? When the engagement partner was briefing his team about the client, what to check, what are the regulatory frameworks, telling everything to his team about the client. What are debriefing? When the team went on to the client and came back to the engagement partner and was telling what all was happening at the client space, what they saw with their eyes. That is a debriefing meeting. Okay. It has two questions, question number 12 and question number 20. What is question number 12? See, let us read the last line first. Describe how process of establishment of overall audit strategy will assist auditor in managing deployment of his human resources for various audit areas. It is asking how a strategy will help auditor in determining about his human resources. Okay, so first question, I believe we are clear. Resources, what resources when to send. Let us read the above question as well. However, if you see, these 4 points are written: resources, experienced, where is experienced team members for high risky areas. Amount, if material locations are high, the number of team members are also high. When to be deployed, interim stage or cutoff stage, and how to be managed, directed, and supervises. All these things he has already written. Now let us read the above question as well. EFG Limited has appointed this CA firm as the statutory auditors for 24-25. The engagement partner completed his risk assessment procedure. However, he is concerned about the management of human resources to be employed to conduct the audit. For this purpose, he wants to establish an overall audit strategy for setting the STD scope, timing, direction. All of this question was pure rubbish, no value addition. The last line only told us the full meaning. So, but one important thing to learn from this question is, listen to me. This is a statement wala question. This question starts with a statement. Some questions which start with a statement, we copy the statement as it is and we start our answer with that statement only. So it tells that he wants to establish an overall audit strategy for setting the scope, timing, direction of audit. So we need to copy the same line while starting our answer. Whenever there is a statement given, we write down the statement and then we explain what is actually asked. So overall audit strategy sets the scope, timing, direction and guides the development of an audit plan, and then we'll explain our resources content. Okay. Question number 12. Next is question number 20. It is the same question, however it came in previous year question, so mark it as same question, question number 20. Next is the development of an audit plan. Plan includes three things: NTE of RAP, FAP, OPAP. RAP, FAP, OPAP. What are RAP? Risk assessment procedures. What are FAP? Further audit procedures. What are OPAP? Other planned audit procedures. So that the engagement complies with essays. If we have conducted three procedures combined and we have obtained reasonable assurance, then as per the logic we do not need to do any more procedures. However, we need to follow the essays. So if essay says you need to do a total of 5 procedure, we will do 2 more so that our engagement complies with essays. This is development of an audit plan. It says once the strategy is established, plan can be developed. Understanding the business while developing a plan is very, very important. Without adequate knowledge of business, we cannot conduct an audit. Auditor plans what type of procedures to be performed, what would be their timing, and how much of the work should be done, taking into account the sample size. What should be performed, what type of procedures, and when those work should be performed. Plan is much more detailed than the strategy. It includes the NTE of procedures to be performed by the team. NT बोले तो nature, timing and extent, because plan list down all the procedures. Nature means all the procedures, timing means when those procedures to be done, E for extent, how much detail, in how much detail will be performed those procedures. Planning includes all those. Planning of risk assessment procedures occurs early. However, planning of further procedures depend upon the outcome of risk. If we have performed the risk assessment procedures, if we have performed the risk assessment procedure and we have estimated the risk to be 10%, then our further procedures will be comparatively less. Versus if we have estimated the procedure risk to be 50%, our further procedures will be more. So it says NTE of further audit procedures depend upon the outcome of risk assessment procedures. How much risk we have assessed, according to that will set the extent of further audit procedures, and he may begin the execution of further procedures before planning all remaining further procedures. Once we have assessed the risk for purchase, we have decided what further procedures we need to do, we can start executing, we can start actually doing those procedures instead of planning for all, first for sale, then for purchase, then for asset. We can plan some, execute some, plan other, execute other. Do you understand this? Okay. Now it has question number 17. Question number 17. Oh, it is a very small question. Auditor shall develop an audit plan that includes description of procedures. Specify the requirement in this regard. He shall develop a plan which will include what procedures auditor will do, description of procedure. What are the requirements? NTE of RAP, NTE of FAP, OPAP, other planned audit procedures. One thing to note is very, very important here, that you do not need to write NTE. You would never write NTE or FAP or RAP. You would not use short form. I have used short form to keep it concise, but you will not use short form in your exams. Okay. Or internal controls, IC for internal controls, you should not do that. Next topic is relationship between audit strategy and the plan. Which one we develop first, a strategy or a plan? A strategy or a plan? We develop a strategy first and then we develop a plan. So strategy sets the overall approach to audit, whereas plan address the matters identified in strategy. Once we have decided our scope, once we have decided our timing and direction, then we make a plan how to go about that area, what actual procedures we need to perform in that much area. Strategy decides STD, scope, timing, direction. Plan is how strategy is going to be implemented. Plan is more detailed than strategy. Planning takes place over the course of audit. Planning takes place over the course of audit, which we studied recently, that planning is a continual process. We keep on planning the new procedures, we keep on performing the new procedures. As and when we perform the procedures, actually we get to know a lot more about the entity, and then we plan further procedures accordingly. Okay, so it takes place over the course of audit. And once the strategy has been established, plan can be developed to address various matters identified in strategy through the efficient use of resources. Strategy and plan are not necessarily discrete or sequential processes. These are not one after the other processes. These are not discrete, means these are not fixed. These can change. These are basically interrelated. So changes in one may result in changes to other. I gave you an example where I told you that if we found a fraud during the financial statements, then our risk increases automatically. And then if our risk increases, we'll need to perform more further procedures. And if we need to perform more further procedures, we need to increase the level of resources. So procedures were written in plan changed, so we need to change the strategy as the resources were in strategy part. So once after starting the audit, the plan can change, and due to which the strategy can change. So these are not discrete or fixed, these are just interrelated. One can change due to the other. Question is question number 13 and 21. Question number 13 and 21. The engagement partner of a firm of auditor is explaining to his team undergoing articleship the interrelationship between strategy and the plan. So the engagement partner is explaining the interrelationship between strategy and the plan. Discuss the point which the partner will explain to his team. Very, very direct question. All of these things he will explain, which we have just read. Question number 21. Same question, previous year question. Partner is explaining to his team relationship between strategy and the plan. Mark it down as question 13, question 21. Now, factors to be taken into consideration by auditor for establishing overall audit strategy. While establishing the strategy, what factors will the auditor will take into consideration? First, it says engagement team efforts, as it is concerned about strategy STD. So we'll see the team efforts engagement team efforts and plus में resources. So resources should be affected by engagement team effort. If the volume of transaction is too much, then we need to put more resources. If there are a lot of development, lot of changes, we need to put more resources. If there are changes in FRF, then we need to check in detail whether all the changes have been complied or not. And if there are any other significant developments, basically if there are any changes in law, we need to check more detail, so that because the management people must have making some mistakes due to the changes. So high team efforts if there are any changes and if there is high volume of transaction. It has two questions, question 14 and question 25. Question 25. What does it say? B Limited is a company manufacturing bed sheets and pillow covers. They have appointed Mrs. C and Company CAs as their auditor. Auditor is establishing strategy with his team members. As the work progressed, they came to know that the company has diversified its business and they're also planning to make wooden manufacture. Company was making bed sheets, pillow cover. Now the company is expanding and is making wooden furniture. Auditor considered this to be a significant factor in determining the engagement team efforts. Significant factor in determining the engagement team efforts. Give examples of factor that in auditor's judgment are significant in directing engagement team effort. Zero relevancy of above question. Straightforward question. What are the factors in auditor's judgment are significant in directing the engagement team efforts? Previous year question it is. Same. Volume, industry development, change in FRF, and relevant significant development in legal environment. Question number for 25. Mark it as question number 25. Next is question number 14. The auditor needs to direct effort of the engagement team toward matter which is him which that in his professional judgment are more significant. Efforts of the engagement team significant. Preliminary identification of material class of transaction account balance disclosure help auditor in establishing overall audit strategy. Have I told you before about the class of transaction account balance disclosure? I'll explain it to you once again. Class of transaction is, where is class of transaction? Oh, question number 14. Yeah. So class of transaction refers to P&L. Account balance refers to balance sheet. Disclosure refers to notes to accounts. Whenever these three words come in your exam, do not hesitate or do not be fearful. Just read these three words as one financial statements, because P&L, balance sheet and notes to accounts combined means financial statements only. Okay, so read them as financial statement. Preliminary identification of material financial statement transaction helps auditor in establishing overall audit strategy. More energies need to be devoted in significant matter to obtain desired outcome. Give three example to explain above situation. So this is kind of a tricky question. You'll need to understand that this is talking about the efforts of engagement team. He says some transactions need more time, more energy need to be devoted to significant matter to obtain desired outcome. At some transaction we need to devote more energy, more time, and that's why he's talking about engagement team ke efforts. So you need to explain this, the same pointers. And if you look at closely, same statement he has repeated here. More energies need to be devoted. Preliminary identification of material class of transaction account balance helps in establishing overall audit strategy. So statement wala question starts with statement in the answer and then we explain our rest of the topic. Okay, let us mark it here. Question number 14. Please mark it as read again. You need to read it again during the exam time. Next is ascertain the reporting objectives of engagement plan to plan the timing and nature of communication required. This heading is very important. More often than not, he'll give you the same heading and ask explain. Read it once again. Ascertain the reporting objectives of engagement to plan the timing of audit and the nature of communication required. What are the reporting objectives? We can conduct different types of audit: forensic audit, internal audit, statutory audit. We can conduct a lot of variations. Like, even if we are conducting statutory audit, we need to report over three subsidiaries, only over two, only over the head office. We need to see what are the work that we need to do. While conducting the statutory audit of a bank, we need to report on a lot of things like the cash reserve ratio, like the statutory liquidity ratio, like internal control over financial reporting. So, in addition to our main report, we need to report on these things as well while conducting the audit of a bank. So, we need to first ascertain what are the objectives, what would the auditor need actually to show, to report, and then plan that according to this much work we need this much time, and nature of communication we need to ask these questions. Okay, so he'll see the timetable for reporting. When does he need to give the final report? According to that, he'll time his procedure and he'll communicate with the management. Meetings to discuss NTE of audit work with the management. If he needs more meeting, he'll adjust his procedures accordingly. Discuss with management regarding the type and timing of the report to be issued. How many reports, by when do they need? Expected communication. Do they need a communication on status of audit work? If they feel, if the management wants us to communicate every week, every Friday, how much of the work has been completed, we need to do that, and we need to time our procedures according to that requirement. Last is expected nature and timing of communication among engagement team member, team meeting, and timing of the review of work performed. We need to see how much capable our team members are, whether do we need to review their work again and again. So we'll time our procedures accordingly. If they are more experienced, we do not need to worry about it again and again. We need not to review their work again and again, so they can time their procedures accordingly. All of it was majorly about timing. Timing of audit procedures we need to plan according to the nature of communication and according to the reporting objectives. Let us read first question number 4. Question number 17. 17, 15. Let us read first 15. The ascertainment of reporting objective of engagement helps the auditor to plan the timing of different procedures and the nature of communication required. Give 3 instances. This is the exact same heading. You need to give 3 circumstances: entities, timetable, meetings, organization, expected type and timing of report, expected communication of status of work, and engagement team members. All of these things we need to explain. Question number 15, mark it down. Then question number 17. Sorry, question number 7. The auditor shall take into consideration reporting objective of the engagement so as to plan timing of different procedure and the nature of communication while establishing strategy. Give 4 instances. So same heading is repeated. Give 3 instances, give 4 instances, same instances you need to tell them. And this is a previous year question as well. So mark it as question number 7. Next is question number 10. This is a very interesting question. Look at it. Subodh has recently joined an audit firm as an article. He was in the process of assembling audit working paper for this company as per the instructions. While assembling, he noticed few things. He noticed planning, review, their expected timing, their dates. All of these things is noted. The above working paper lists certain factors which are considered by the auditor while establishing the strategy and the plan. Explain how these considerations highlighted in the above working paper could have helped the auditor. Certain things have been written in here. However, this question, this paper is not important. It is only telling about the expected timing. So the auditor has planned that on this dates we need to review, we need to conduct our field work, we need to get the review by EQCR, we need to finalize the report. He is just talking about the expected timing. Nothing is important in this work paper except the expected timing. So this is just an indication for you to see about the timing. It says auditor shall establish an overall audit strategy, timing and direction that guides the development of an audit plan. One of the factors to be taken into consideration while establishing strategy relates to ascertainment of reporting objective of engagement to plan the timing of audit and the nature of communication required. The point was only about timing. This work paper also tells about timing. So for timing, we need to ascertain these objectives: timetable, meetings, type and timing of report, status of work, and discussion with team members. In the given case, let us read. In the given case, working paper highlights that auditor had taken into account expected timelines. The working paper only highlight about the timelines to plan the audit, nature of communication required. Since the working paper relates to statutory audit of a company, ascertainment of reporting objective that helps the auditor to plan the timing and also the nature of communications. Do you understand what the question was trying to tell? The question was very confusing. However, the work paper was only telling about the timing of planning, the timing of field work, planning and performing, and communication with the management as well. So we have written down the timing procedures. Let us mark it as question number 10. Question number 10, star mark it. Read again from book. Write it down. Read again from book. Next question it says, changes to planning decision during the course of audit. Auditor shall update and change strategy and plan as necessary as a result of unexpected events, changes in condition or evidence obtained from procedures. Auditor may need to modify the strategy and plan and thereby the NTE of FAP. He says, due to three things, management can ask auditor for change in terms of engagement. First is unexpected event. Second is changes in condition. And third is evidence obtained from procedures. These three things. Something happened, management come to you, sir, please change our terms of engagement, sir, please shift from audit to review, or please shift from audit to related service. Changes in condition or evidence obtained, we have found a fraud, now the management is saying, sir, please shift to a no assurance or a low assurance review report. These things please do. There may be the case when information comes to auditor attention that may differ significantly from information available when auditor planned the procedure. Example, evidence obtained on detail checking may contradict the evidence obtained through testing internal control. When do we need to change? When we have obtained an evidence which clearly contradicts with what we have thought it before to be. When we came into the organization, we thought the risk would be 10%. Now we found a fraud. Now the risk goes up to 50%. Information comes to our attention which differs significantly from what we actually thought it would be. Then we can make changes in our planning decisions. Planning, supervision, and review of engagement team members. It says all of these things depend upon the size and complexity. If the size of organization is big, complexity is high, the planning should be more detailed. Area is big, planning should be more detailed. ROMOM is high, risk of material misstatement is high, planning should be more detailed. And if the capability and competence of our team is high, planning should be less detailed. They will do the work of their own. We need not review everything of what they do. Question number 8. What factors will CA Taman consider when planning the NTE of direction, supervision of engagement team member and review of their work? And if during audit CA Taman discovers information significantly differs from what was available when the procedures were initially planned, what will he do? See, two things consider when planning the NTE direction, supervision of engagement team member. He will see these things: size and complexity, area, assessors, capability. This part, factors considering NTE of planning, supervision, and review. Second, if he discovers information that significantly differs from what was available when initially planned, what will he do? He may need to modify the overall audit strategy plan and thereby resulting plan NTE of further audit procedure based on the revised consideration of assessed risk. You need to again assess the risk, again devise the strategy, again make the plan, and make the plan as per the now new assessed risks. So mark here as question number 8 and mark it as read from question bank once again. So whenever I am making a marking, this means that these questions you need to revise in your second and third revision. Before exams, you need to read at least this much question. Where I'm not marking, where I'm not writing, read from question bank. Those are normal questions. You may solve even without looking at them before exams. Next is question number 4. It says, what factor should the team member consider when determining NTE of direction, supervision, and review of engagement teamwork? Same heading. Factors to consider when planning supervision and review of work of engagement team member: size, area, ROMM, complexity. Please write it down as well. What factors should the engagement team member consider? What factors should the engagement team member consider? What factors should the engagement team member consider when determining NTE of direction, supervision, and review of engagement? When determining NTE of direction, supervision, and review of engagement teamwork. It is question number 4. So this can be asked as this heading as well. Okay. Next we move on to page number 2.5, construction and review. It tells about audit program. It says periodic review of audit program. We need to review the audit program. Do you remember the audit program? It was a paper and the series of steps and instructions were written. So we need to review it time to time to assess whether it is still relevant or not. We need to see the program, the client's operation, and the internal control under a periodic review. If we do that, only then the utility or the usefulness of the program can be maintained. Unless this is done, changes in business may not be known, Audit may be carried out on the basis of an obsolete program, and audit may be negligently conducted. Program lists tasks as well, but also contains instruction like do checking of this, but extent of checking, how many samples do we need to check, by what sample procedure we need to take. As long as the program is not officially changed, assistant should carry out detailed work according to the instructions governing the work. So up until the program is changed, articles or the audit assistant need to carry out the work as per the recommended program only. Do not put their own mind, do not apply their own mind in and change the procedures. Apply their mind, but note and report. And after reporting, if the principal suggests any changes, only then do the changes. Otherwise, do not do the changes by yourself. Question number 11. It says, there is a CA firm who has been auditing the books of accounts of Kali Limited for the past 3 years. Company has recently made some major changes in its business policies. So, changes have been made in business policies. While planning to start the audit for the fourth year, audit manager, as per the routine practice, handed over previous year program as it is, and with the instruction to adhere unfailingly to this sad program. Company has made some changes, however, the partner has taken out the old program and given it to the assigned assistants and tell them to unfailingly follow it, evaluate the decision of the manager with reference to the use of audit program. Then you will write, there should be a review, only then utility will be maintained. In this situation, it is very essential to review the program, thus contention of manager to adhere with the instruction are not correct. Very straightforward questions. It lists the tasks as well, instructions as well. We need to keeping in review program, operation and internal control all under the periodic check. Okay, question number 11. Company has changed its business operations. However, 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 manager handed out old program to his team and asked them to follow it unfailingly. Okay, now you will understand after looking at the topic only that we need to write periodic review of the program. Next is question number 19. This is the same question, came in PYQ September 24. Mark it down as question number 19 as well. It says points to be kept in mind for the purpose of program construction. Stay within the scope and limitation. Prepare a written program. Identify what evidence is available, what is the best evidence among the available evidences. Evidence could be documentary, physical, statement, calculation, subsidiary records, minutes. Any evidence could be available. So what is the best evidence for our satisfaction? Apply only those procedures which are useful. Include the objective that we are doing this to check the existence. We are conducting this to check the uh, rights and obligation or the evaluation, consider all possibilities of error and coordinate the procedures. So these things we need to keep in mind while preparing a program. Question number 26. It says APR and associate. We'll read the last line first. Is CAP correct in emphasizing for a different audit program for time limited? We cannot comprehend on the basis of only the last line, so we'll need to read the whole question. APR Associates CA firm are appointed as the auditor of this company, Time and Bakes Limited. Volume and nature of business, both of the companies are entirely different. So these are two companies, Time Limited and Bakes Limited. Volume of transaction and nature of business are entirely different. CAR is the engagement partner for Bakes Limited. P is the engagement partner for Time Limited. CAR formulates a program for Bakes Limited and suggests CAP to use the same program. So one C has prepared the program for one company and suggests the other one to use the same for his company as well. But CAP is of the opinion that his program will not be useful for audit of Time Limited. CAP says that I'll need to make a separate program. In the light of above, mention the matters it should generally be considered. So here is our question. First is, mention the matters that should generally be considered while preparing an audit program. Second is CAP correct? So first we'll write the matters, stay within the scope and limitation, written program, evidence giving necessary satisfaction, all of these. And then it says CAP is correct in emphasizing for a different program, as evolving one program for all the businesses is not practicable, neither suitable. Okay, mark it down as question number 6. Question number 6. Sorry, question number 26, not 6. It is 26. What is question number 6? Let's see. If you were assisting CA Atul in constructing his audit program, what are the points that you will keep in mind? Same question, same heading. These are all the pointers. Mark it as question number 6 as well. And last is disadvantages. Program has disadvantages. Sometimes the work may become mechanical, it may feel rigid, it may feel inflexible, that whatever is written in the program we need to do that only. Business may change but program may still be carried on. Inefficient assistant may hide behind the name of the program, that as it was not written in the program, we have not done it or we have not thought about it, and it may kill the initiative of efficient assistant. However, all the disadvantages may be eliminated by imaginative supervision. Principal should listen to the article, imagine what must be happening, and then give him instructions accordingly. Auditor must have a receptive attitude, and assistant should be encouraged to observe matter and bring it to the notice of principal. So these are the disadvantages and how to eliminate them. Question number 9. Sanjana is of the view that there exist some disadvantages in the use of audit program. Okay, but most of these can be removed by following some steps. Do you agree with her perspective? So these are the disadvantages, and all these disadvantages may be eliminated by imaginative supervision. Auditor must have a receptive attitude, and third, the assistant should be encouraged. So you need to write both of these things. Mark it as question number. With this we complete our chapter 2 with question answers. Okay, please revise this, and in the next class we'll start with chapter 4. Okay, bye bye, take care.